All right, continuing with Mark Cuban right now. You know, Mark, I was, I'm not intentionally, I'm sure, but you picked fights with a lot of folks. Jack Welch, the latest, when you were taking him on for attacking the Clinton Foundation and this idea that those who have helped the foundation had a pay-for-play reward, and you wanted him to prove it, and unless he could prove it, he was throwing, false accusations. Is that the gist of it?
Oh yeah, and it was absolutely intentional to pick a war. I try to pick the wars with the people who should be able to defend themselves. And look, my point with Jack was, and I don't know him, never met him, never talked to him, was that when he was the CEO of GE, he got accused of a lot of things. I don't know what was true. I don't know what wasn't true. But I would never accuse him of something without knowing the facts. And that's exactly what Jack Welch has done. And it's not the first time. I mean, he made accusations that the Bureau of Labor Statistics, I think, with the unemployment rate was run by, what did he say, the guys in Chicago or something like that?
Right.
And so it's not the first time for him. And I'm just trying to make the point, and again, only against the folks that should be able to have a foundation for what they're saying.
You don't think there was ever anything that looked a little weird about those who attended Clinton events and those that gave to the foundation?
No, and I'll tell you exactly why. First of all, you have to ask yourself, what's the market for giving a former president giving a speech, right? Because that's one of the issues to be addressed. So first of all, Ronald Reagan has gotten paid more than $1 million per speech. In 1989, he went to Japan and gave 2 speeches. Second of all, Bill Clinton made a lot, I think it was $250K, give or take, for a lot of speeches. I've made $250K for a bunch of speeches. For the most part, he gets paid a little bit more than I do, but the point is, he was right inside the market. He wasn't getting paid more or less than the market.
Third, but this is a little bit more than, but I know what I didn't want to interrupt you, but this is more than about events. This is for a foundation that ostensibly raises questions about whether there is a pay-for-play relationship.
But so in order a pay-for-play relationship suggests that he's gaining money in order to give a favor, correct? And so in order to determine if there's any quid pro quo, there's got to be some money destined for the trade-off. And my point is, if I'm the former president of the United States, who has had a lot of experience, creating health initiatives around the world and has a phenomenal brand, one of the best brands globally of anybody ever, for him to go to a foreign nation and say, look, if you give to my foundation, I'm going to provide you support. I'm going to provide you brand support. I'm going to help you with your health initiatives. You're going to be perceived in a much more positive light because you're working for me. And what I'd like for you to do
when it's his wife makes an appearance as a future candidate, I guess we can argue this back and forth, so I won't waste your time on that.
But Neil, they've been investigated more than anybody. They've turned over all their emails. They've talked to everybody who's ever emailed them, and there's been no support for any.
Didn't turn them over. It took multiple court orders to get the latest batch we have.
But Neil, I really want to make this point.
Sure.
The FBI talked to everybody that she emailed. So whenever you email, there's 2 sides, right? There's the sender and the receiver.
So this is not a big deal to you. This is not a big deal. It raised questions about
our honor. It's a non-event.
All right. I do want to switch gears because you've also taken on Carl Icahn, who's been very critical of the administration and regulations, quoting here from a Carl Icahn tweet. How do you unleash the power corporations if you do nothing about the strangulating regulations, which she said, referring to Hillary Clinton, zero about? You answered, it sure hasn't stopped you from investing in companies. Carl has it. Regs can improve, no doubt, but the Trump plan is a disaster. Have you guys talked to each other since?
No, and I love Carl. We've done some business together and tried to do more business together. He's a great guy. I look up to him. I respect the hell out of him, right? But he's not always right. And, he knew the regulations when he got involved with energy. And it's not to say there aren't things that couldn't be improved, right? There's the RINs, I forget exactly what they stand for.
His point is they're a moving target, though, right? Because whatever, you know that it's a heavily regulated industry. You're right about that. But that it changes all the more. For example, in coal, where they heap on new regulations, and that strangles innovative investing.
You know what? If you're an energy company, you invest in energy. Obviously, on the margin, a little bit more cash helps. But at the same time, Donald Trump has not released anything as it applies to energy. He's just talked top line. Hillary Clinton has not released anything as it applies to energy. So Carl's in the dark for both. Who knows? With the way, Donald is influenced or Hillary is influenced, Carl has no idea what's going to happen because we haven't seen details.
All right. On the markets in general, are you worried after a pretty quiet August? You're a pretty good investor. That we're in for a rocky fall. Everyone worries about that as we get to the fall. Are you?
Yes, absolutely, because we don't know what we don't know. I think there are so many external global influences on our market. What money comes here when there's uncertainty overseas, what money goes into treasuries, and where does it go if, rates go higher or lower. And then there's the uncertainty of the election. I mean, I have my Trump hedge on. In the event Donald wins, I have no doubt in my mind the market tanks. And so I literally have put on a more than 100% hedge.
Really?
That I'll put on stronger if it looks like there's a better chance.
What does that mean? Donald
forward.
Trump wins in November. What is Mark Cuban doing?
Mark Cuban, if the polls look like there's a decent chance that Donald could win, I'll put a huge hedge on that's over 100% of my equity positions and my bond position as well that protects me just in case he wins.
What's so horrible about that prospect?
I just think all the uncertainty. I mean, we don't know what Donald Trump's plans are. And just right now, all we know are a little bit about his immigration, which tends to change on a day-to-day basis. And we know he's going to reduce taxes significantly. When you reduce taxes significantly, there's a timeline involved. Everybody's going to put off, selling and doing anything until next year because of the drop in tax rates, if he's able to get it passed. And because of that, you're going to see a huge sell-off, I think, in stocks because people take advantage of any type of tax gain. And then who knows if the flip side comes through to prop it back up. I don't know. And I can go through 20 other things, but the bottom line is, of all the things we can discuss, the one thing the markets hate is uncertainty. And right now, with Donald, there's uncertainty. And then on the global peace basis, all he has to do is say the wrong thing one time, and
you never know.
There's history
can be a fickle thing. Mark Cuban, thank you so much for taking the time, my friend. I very much appreciate it.
Anytime, Neil.
Continued
success. And I'm so glad you're back. Continued health.
Thank you, my friend. We'll have more to this.
Thank you.